If the Edmonton Oilers, like, let's just say they both punched their ticket, Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers, who would you give to the edge to if the series was starting like Friday night?
That's a great question, man.
It's kind of a pick 'em, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it might be it's a real close to a pick 'em. Look that up, Doogie. Ask FanDuel how they would cap that.
Wouldn't
Who
you
would
give
have
the
home
edge
ice?
to Florida? Well, Edmonton has the home ice, but wouldn't you give the edge to Florida because they did it? Like they've been.
I don't know. I got this that Edmonton team, man. I don't know.
They're
that Dallas
playing
team, they
very
mulled
well.
through
Skinner's
it
been great.
Yeah,
Skinner's been great against Dallas.
He is a wild card, and he would affect your ability to handicap the series because can he be the guy that's unstoppable, or is he going to morph into the guy that doesn't wear his equipment out there?
Well, that is a concern.
It is a concern because it's one or the other. But he's on a positive roll right now, Hayes.
Oh, the guy was making stops last night that was like crazy. Like, paddle saves, and you're like, what is happening around here?
But that Edmonton team, they went from a team, and everyone was critical after the deadline and after the beginning of the season that they lost some speed with the young guys that went out the door and they didn't replace it. How fast do they look right now, the whole team? And shout out to Stan Bowman and shout out to Darnell Nurse, playing pretty damn good hockey.
Nurse, it's very quiet. You're right. This time last year was very loud.
Quiet Darnell Nurse is the best Darnell Nurse. He looks pretty damn good out there. He deserves some love.
Looks really good.
They all do. But, how many times have we talked about Evan Bouchard, when he's noisy? And, some of these players, when they're noisy, it's not the best scenario. When we're talking about a noisy Darnell Nurse, that's not good. That means that he's making mistakes and, you notice him. But when he's quiet, it's like, God, that guy is a beast. He's 6'4", 225, and heavy, and got a mean streak and playing smart and safe. Like it was brought to my attention. It was funny. I thought about it. That destabilized when Klingberg came back in.
Mm-hmm. He's and Wallman's. I've been impressed with him.
Wallman's been very good.
Wallman's
he's a big
really
guy
good.
who can skate. But I watched a Jeff Jackson interview yesterday. And I thought it was interesting because he was asked, what moves are you most proud of, that type of stuff. And he said, Stan Bowman was very bullish on getting a puck-moving defenseman at the deadline as opposed to a stabilizing stay-at-home guy. Mm-hmm. For Darnell Nurse. If Nurse could be the guy who jumps up, then you need a stabilizer. Jacob Trouba. Remember, I was banging the Jacob Trouba drum. You need a stabilizing guy. They went the other way. And he said Bowman's thought process was you need to exit the zone. You need to move the puck. You need to get it out. And that's what they've been able to do is exit their zone pretty efficiently. Listen, Dallas had 39 shot attempts in the first period last night. Like, it's not like it's been a game of perfect. Like, they had 15 missed nets. So, Dallas needs to find their game. But Edmonton has done a pretty darn good job of getting out of the zone and being efficient.
Yeah, and a psychological move that I would make as a head coach, guys pissed off or disappointed that Hyman's out, put Ekholm back in and kind of cancel it out. Guys would be jacked up to see him, having him back in the lineup, so they're not kind of, Hyman, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it would kind of maybe level things out where it's like, no Hyman, that's fine, but we're getting this guy back, so don't kind of be down, or I don't think they would be, but just to kind of level things out and be upbeat, you're getting one of the best your best defenseman back.
Yeah, and I think that would factor into the odds, right? Like FanDuel's got the hypothetical Stanley Cup Final, Panthers minus 115, Oilers minus 104. So Panthers a slight favorite, but you're paying juice on either bet. In other words, it's effectively a pick 'em. And like I think missing out on Hyman, he's been so good. He's been so physical, man. I think I fear that's a big blow for the next round. Like, I think they're in the driver's seat here against Dallas. But you look at Florida and the way they're going to play, and they're going to play physically, and their defense. We saw it with the Leafs. We saw it with Tampa. It's like you got to try to get in, and you got to try to hit them. Like, you got it before they move that puck, before they get out. Because they're going to do that. They're going to hold the line. They're going to force you to do stuff. And Hyman has been capable of breaking loose in terms of breakaways, in terms of scoring goals, physicality,
I'm sure those
hits.
guys on Dallas were trying to hold the line against these guys the whole series, and they're just not doing it.
They're not. But
I agree it's a massive loss, but I just think the way that those guys are possessed and the way they're playing, they're just like, straight ahead, fellas. Can't blink.
That would be mighty impressive. And I'm not doubting that. I'm not sitting here saying I can't see that. I mean, look at the way Edmonton's playing at home. Like, at home, they are playing as well as anyone I can recall in the playoffs.
Basically unbeatable right now.
Effectively unbeatable, and they score a ton of goals. And again, it hasn't always been the McDavid and Draisaitl show,
not.
and that's what's impressive. And I think it was Draisaitl after the game saying Nugent-Hopkins been their best player.
I would argue that he probably has been the most consistent player their last 5 to 7 games. Like he's been really good. He's helped stabilize their power play. Obviously, he's a smart player. The one thing, and I can't take credit for it, Struddy always says that Nugent-Hopkins never plays at full speed. He plays in fourth gear. Like he's kind of a methodical player, a lot like Sam Reinhart. When I look at it, both of them are really smart players. They don't overwhelm you with anything other than all of a sudden they're just at the right spot at the right time and they make the right play. They're just really smart, good hockey players, and they need that. And obviously with Hyman being injured, I agree. Like I think Hyman is an engine, and you're not going to replace him. What you need to do is throw a different attack at it. Maybe Kapanen gets a little bit extra ice time or guys like that. That Arvidsson came in and looked pretty decent last night. But I think the one thing that is lost in all this is Knobloch said last night after the game, he goes, we were down to 11 forwards, and Draisaitl just played over 11 minutes after 2 periods. So he goes, I went to him and saying, I'm going to double shift you here in the third period. And Draisaitl can handle it, right? Big, strong guy.
Yep.
So it's, I think if anything, I'll come back to your point. I think they go 11-7, and you find an extra shift or two for the big boys and keep cycling through, right?
That's a good point, and that is a daunting task for the opponent. If and when they have to stop those guys, that extra 2 or 3 shifts,
right.
McDavid and Draisaitl. That's what's amazing is that they have played so much hockey. And this year, McDavid was at the Four Nations, and he's had injuries that have popped up, and they do not look like they're running out of gas. No. They've run into some injuries, but the team in general looks like it's peaking, which is the perfect time to do that.